Hi, everyone. My name is Maverine, and I am starting a new news channel. With the dearth of options, I thought it important, a good thing to share why I'm beginning this channel. The channel is titled, and our handle is Prophetic News Hour. And on this channel, we will research, we will write, and we will report global news from a biblical perspective. Now, what do I mean by a biblical perspective? And I'm just going to grab some things that came to me as I was considering this. The biblical perspective considers things as we see them in the natural, the present day, from the perspective of a historical 60,000-foot view. The biblical perspective brings together what is seen in the natural and the physical, those occurrences that we are being affected by in our daily lives, or our families are being affected by, or, even those things, unfortunately, that many of us might think are happening so far away it doesn't impact us. But the biblical perspective brings those things together in a way that is long game in our consideration. How does what's happening today in Poland affect the United States of America, both today and in the future? What things in the history of a nation like Poland have affected what is happening today in the world? It brings those things together. And a biblical perspective encourages critical thought. We ask questions because we want to encourage you, to compel you, to prompt you to consider things outside of what you've always believed to be true, and certainly outside of things that the mainstream media have been feeding to us. This channel will share the part that I understand as it is given to me. I have, for all of my life, I can't explain to you, I just have been drawn to international affairs, what we know as diplomacy, and quite frankly, war history, the history of wars, why they occur, how the national leaders, the military leaders, the terrorist leaders have come to power, what things over time have funded and strengthened and positioned them to do the things they've done. When we think about that in the positive, we think about that from the perspective of the battles of Winston Churchill against Germany and the Nazis. But when we think about that in the negative, we consider those things that leaders like Roosevelt, Stalin, Lenin did. So I encourage you to listen to this channel, to add this to your daily listening. I will endeavor to make the recordings, each report, only as long as is necessary to provide the information. And as we're going forward in this, I encourage you to put questions in the comments. I encourage you to share your insight, because I can only report the part that I have been given and understand. But together, we can come into a greater understanding and therefore not be pawns who are subject to the systems of this world that do not have humanity's best interest at heart. So I hope that you join me here each day. I'll post. I'm not yet going live. I quite frankly want to get more comfortable with this, work out the kinks, but not be stopped from proceeding. So I'll release a recording daily. I encourage you to listen as each recording is released, and not just listen from the perspective of this channel, this service, this work being your single source. But take these things into deeper consideration. Talk about them with your family, your children, to the extent that they are at the levels that you may share them with them at their understanding. And then look for the more. And more importantly, ask yourself what action, what steps you may take. As we come together in humanity, not under a one world system, not under a dystopian system, not under a false idea of utopia and what that is, but as ones who are uniquely designed and created to play our part in history, and who have every opportunity to not let history repeat itself as we are seeing now, to not let the despots, to not let the tyrannical powers, as it was with Hitler and as it is today with the ones who are leading the massacres and attacks across countries like Nigeria, China, Israel. To not allow them to have unfettered power and control over us for our lack of understanding and our lack of being engaged. So, again, my name is Maverine, and I look forward to having you listen in. God bless you, and we'll talk soon on the Prophetic News Hour.